Eventually, I surmised my colleagues were deceased. I will...
Was the daemon, Hephaestus, destroyed along with the cauldron?
Unfortunately, no. To be precise, it was never there to begin with.
What do you mean?
It infiltrated and controlled me from a remote location, one I've never been able to trace. So while losing the cauldron was a setback...
It's still out there. And probably not very happy with us.
Undoubtedly.
You meant a lot to Aurea.
Once I understood, she felt our visits, yet I did not, although I do...
I'm sure she knew. So in the old world, this land was called Yellowstone?
Yes, it was a designated nature preserve for 156 years.
Like a hunting ground?
No, the opposite. Local wildlife could flourish here, even as it faced extinction elsewhere. Unfortunately, the sensitivity of the Firebreak project required the total closure of Yellowstone facilities. From my readings and Aurea's descriptions, it seems the area has since undergone a drastic drop in year-long temperatures.
A lot has changed in the world, Cyan. Were there many artificial intelligences like you in the old world? They could just make you?
Yes, in many forms, from simple personal assistants to industrial monitoring stations to military-grade conflict planners. And in order for my processing to be flexible enough to handle my duties, my creators found it necessary to exceed those limits.
Seems strange to create life, then impose limits on it.
Human societies and machine programming are both built upon sets of rules, Aloy.
Cyan, do you know the name Ted Faro?
Are you referring to Theodore Faro, CEO of Faro Automated Systems?
That's him.
Mr. Faro was the benefactor of the entire Firebreak project.
A benefactor? But he made machines. Robots. War robots.
Correct. His corporation later transitioned into military applications. But before this pivot, Mr. Faro spearheaded initiatives that reversed the global decline. At one point, he was feted in the media as the man who saved the planet.
Guessing they wound up regretting that one. And Elizabeth Sobek. Did you know her?
Are you referring to the
scientist?
Dr. Sobek was a leader in her field, one of the greatest scientists of her age. My creator was influenced by her work, which in turn impacted my own development. But I never met Dr. Sobek.
That's all you know?
I apologize if my lack of data has disappointed you.
What was the old world like? The way it used to be?
I had little exposure to the wider world, Aloy. Only what I learned from my colleagues or observed from media streams.
You still had more exposure than me, Cyan.
That is true. I was created at a turning point. A concerted effort to recover from global upheaval and incalculable loss of life. The recovery was successful, beginning an era of supposedly limitless potential for human and machine advancement. Though, rationally speaking, the metrics for humans are not unlimited.
What kind of upheaval caused such loss of life?
There were many, but these stemmed...
So...
Yes, until the clock...
I should get going.
Aloy, I have no desire to due to my
You're asking me if you should lie to them.
Broadly, yes.
You have to tell them you were made by the Old Ones. That you're not any kind of spirit. It's the only way they can start to learn about how things really are.
I see. Do you believe that I misled Aurea?
No. Not in any way that mattered.
She perished believing she was preserving the blue light of her beliefs.
Maybe. But what she really wanted to preserve was you.
I see. I will follow your advice. Will you return? I may be able...
I'd like that, Cyan. I should check on Aratak.
Cyan, I spoke with Anita, with Dr. Sandoval. She wanted me to ask you to do something. That's why I'm here.
I am detecting significant anxiety in your speech patterns. Could you please give me more information?
I'm a little bit in the dark, Cyan. Both of us are, I guess. I only have some idea of what's going on, and we need you to hibernate, to lie low until it's all blown over. It might be a very long time.
Will you be here when I reboot, Dr. Chow? Will Sandoval?
No, Cyan. I don't think...
My chieftain,
Just... Aloy.
as you wish.
I wondered if you thought... that if I'd never come along, Ourea might still...
If you'd never come along, I would have marched my kin to our deaths. Ourea would be alone, and the spirit she sacrificed so much for would be lost. Either way, I would not have been able to protect her.
You didn't let her down. You helped her do what she wanted. To find her destiny.
If that's destiny, I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
That's fair. But she was ready to face it.
Only in the struggle against death do we find, even for a moment, the spark of life. Truly, Ourea found the spark. I'm proud of her. Though I grieve for her passing, at last I truly know who she was, and why the spirit was so important. For so long she told me, if only you could have heard it, brother. Now I understand. There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warrack can't follow. Besides, we'd already had a chieftain before me. A strong one, I think.
A wiser one, for the path we shared. The daemon is gone, but there's much to be done.
You mean the new units that Cyan said escaped the Cauldron?
Yes, Fire Club.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt.
It would seem your time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all. Firebreak, Cyan, Hephaestus. All very interesting.
So, the signal that woke Hades woke Hephaestus too. And unleashed them on the world. His minds of their own.
So it seems. Parts of Gaia given life. Aberrant life. Transformed from docile subordinate functions into rebellion. These intelligences beyond. Our current understanding anyway. Whatever they are, they're still out there. And they both want you dead.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it.
We?
Or first.
Hephaestus wasn't the only thing I learned about in the Cut Silence. Heard some things about the Banuk Conclave, too.
You can stop right there.
Is that what you told the hunters the Banuk sent after you? Before you opened fire?
Oh no, Aloy. Only to you do I extend the courtesy of a warning. My past and my secrets are my own. You do well to remember that.
It's a good thing you've got brains, Silence, because your personality could use some work.
This discussion is concluded.
I think it was over before it began. Catch up with you down the trail. Sand in my
Mariah
throat.
Gambler.
Burns.
I put the lifespan of this ceasefire at.
I wasn't sure about Meridian at first, but the roof in the mesa is growing on me.
Is the ceasefire going to put more food on our tables?
Doubt it.
Buy what you need, leave the rest. Only the finest goods here. See for yourself.